Hey-o!
Hey-o!
There you go.
I like it.
I'm not doing it now that you two guys have.
It's all good. IoT Nuggets. We're back for another episode, which always makes us excited. Especially today, we've got Justin Silva joining us, the CEO of Momentum IoT, all the way from California. So we are happy to have you here, Justin. Thank you for joining.
Good to be here. Thank you. Excited.
Absolutely. And as always, bhiotgroup.com up there at the top of the screen. That's the website if you want to reach out to Steve Brummer, the illustrious Steve Brummer, I might add, and his partner, Mr. John Hubler. If you have an IoT application that you want to deploy, that you want to bring to market, they're the dream team. You should get in touch with them. And in the meantime, you can connect with them on LinkedIn, YouTube, and binge all the IoT Nugget shows you like.
If you're bored out of your mind and you want to binge, this is a great place to do it.
If you want to get learned, if you want to learn something, and you're going to learn something today because Justin is here with us, and we're going to be talking about Momentum IoT. I must say that already, just having visited the website alone, as soon as you land on the website, you get a great visual of how their deployments work and what they bring to the table, which right away you can tell that they mean business and know what they're doing. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We're going to talk about Thule, some new technologies that they've got. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to you, Steve, and Justin, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been looking forward to this conversation for a while. So give us a little idea about, how you started. You've been there, almost 5 years, I guess it's almost. Talk a little bit about the company, what you're doing, what's really hot right now for you, and what's selling really well. We all know it's telematics and GPS solutions and things like that, but tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, set the stage. It's 5 years ago. A friend of mine who had a construction company, pretty good size, couple thousand vehicles and equipments, came to me as his tech friend and was like, hey, this telematics provider is screwing me out of this contract because they're shutting down my network. So, I want you to help me find some new telematics. So I'm like, okay, sure. So I went out there looking for, a very modern company that was easy to use, had a powerful API, no contracts. And I kind of didn't find anything. So I ended up coming back to him a couple of days later and saying, I couldn't really find anything that I was happy with, but, I think I can actually do something in this space. And I'm, looking for a new opportunity right now. So I actually started it in that way. And it was really just to solve this problem of you take every other major industry and it's got a couple of players in it who are, really nice, easy to use application, transactional, just kind of a modern company. And I just didn't see that in telematics and thought that, this industry is going to need that. So I started the company in 2017. We do make our own hardware and software and platforms. So we spent a couple of years in R&D, making sure that the hardware was right and everything else. We launched our go-to-market in 2019, and we wanted to be different because what we learned in this process was that if you look at all fleets that are out there, about 2/3 of them are actually small business fleets, which I didn't know previously. It's a little known fact, kind of a secret in the industry. And in that 66% of fleets, about 25% of them are connected to the internet. So to me, I look at a space where you have a huge incumbent field, and yet you have the largest segment of the market that's, kind of not using that. And I started looking at the barriers, right? What's preventing these folks from using it? And so we basically backed into our go-to-market strategy based on opening up that segment of the market. So for us, instead of enterprise sales guys and big contracts and selling, physical hardware on top of the service, it's transactional, month-to-month e-commerce, and we're leasing you the hardware through what we call hardware as a service. So really our goal and what's selling well is sort of using social media, creating really engaging content that people like, and just making it incredibly easy to get connected. When I was doing that research, these deals were taking about 30 days to close for these companies. We usually close a deal in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
We really enable and have automated the entire process. So
is there any particular vertical segment? I mean, you're doing obviously a lot of different specific vertical segments. Is there one that's selling faster, quicker, better ROI?
Mm-hmm, yeah. So we call it field service, right? Because there's sort of the transportation segment where you have like long haul and middle mile trucking. And then you have the guys that, are going out into the work with the crew to do some sort of job, whether it's plumbers, HVACs, electricians, roofers, landscapers. Those are the people that have been left on the sideline. And that's what our mission is to connect those folks. So that's where we succeed.
Do you find education being a challenge, meaning educating some of these smaller business owners?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And, honestly, when we started thinking about using a self-service model, that was definitely a concern that we had.
Yeah.
But what we learned through early testing and all of the data we have supports this is telematics. It's actually not a new technology. Really, you can find traces of it back to the 90s. And so you have a market where people in business know what GPS tracking and telematics is. It's just that the industry is filled with enterprise players. So that's kind of where we found our little corner to go into. And that's what's been working well for us so far. And we started with like 0 customers in like 3 years ago, and we've just hit the 3,500 active customer mark. So
awesome! Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
And so you have a new product called Tooly.
Did that
come from another friend of yours that said, "Hey, can you help me?"
Yeah, they called our tip line. No. So one of the interesting things that happens when you have 3,500 companies that you're working with is you can have access to a lot of data. I can have my pulse on what the industry is doing in really a fantastic way than just having a handful, right? And one of the things I learned as I was working and talking with customers is, sure, we've solved this kind of case for tracking their motor vehicles and their big trailers that, let's say are $20,000 and above, right? We have the right price, we have the right terms, everything works, it's easy, done. And yet, every truck that goes out into the field today is filled with equipment. And for some reason, there's really no visibility that these companies have on that equipment, not just where it is, but more importantly, what it's doing. Yeah. And so what they've done up until this point is they've had field supervisors, right? You see these guys, they drive around, they got a white hat, they pull up to a job site, check some boxes, make sure everyone's working, and then they go to the next one. And that's really what the Tooly solves is sort of that activity tracking for your light equipment, not just where it is, but in real time, what equipment's on, what's been idle for too long, things like that. So
in our obviously Doug is back, so he's trying to tell us that we're kind of close.
Yeah.
To the end of our.
Yeah, that happened quick.
So give us a little pontification. What do you see over the next year in your business and in the market? I've been doing this too long. I can't look 3 to 5 years on all these other people. So tell us about the next year.
Yeah, sure. So we really didn't know if there'd be a lot of demand for the Tooly because no one had created something like it. So in our early testing of this, we sold out in like 3 hours. So I think that's a really powerful trend. The data that we can present to customers they've never had access to before. And I think that absolutely industry is moving into this direction. In 3 to 5 years, what's happening on a job site and not knowing at any time of the day from anywhere in the world is just not going to be an acceptable answer anymore. Because tools like Momentum and others will really come into the forefront. You've seen this trend play out, right? We're connecting more and more things for cheaper and cheaper, and this is essentially a natural evolution of this market, and we're just kind of jumping in front of a massive tailwind, we think.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, Justin, thank you so much for your time. This was great, very informative, a lot of education pieces, this is what IoT Nuggets is all about, right? We're less salesy, more education, because we are needing to do that on a consistent basis. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yep. Doug, wrap it up.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. And Justin, great stuff. Congratulations to you on your success and your momentum.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, really?
I haven't heard that one before. Wow, this is a good one.
And tell me, Justin, 10,000 comedians out of work, and we got to listen to him.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to be here, guys. Thank you for putting this together.
Great to have you. Yep. And thank you to everybody who watched. Please share it out. Comment if you like. We would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And if you have an IoT solution or a deployment that you have expertise in and that you're doing, let us know. Reach out. We'd love to have you on an episode of IoT Nuggets, and go to bhiotgroup.com there up at the top of the screen. And also make sure you visit momentumiot.com to find out more about Momentum and what they're doing. And we will see you all next time on the next episode of IoT Nuggets. Thanks,
Excellent.
everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.